The word whisky is derived from Scots Gaelic, water of life. But not all water is equal. Every drop of every dram of Arran single malt begins its life amongst the pure Scottish waters of Lochranza Davie. Rainwater pools here amongst the beautiful hills behind the distillery and then begins its journey onwards, passing our distillery in the foothills on its way out to the sea. Clear waters cascade through the 6 purifying waterfalls, repeatedly cleansed by granite before congregating in the natural amphitheatre of Lochranza. This organic purification process allows us to create a neat, sweet dram, unadulterated and enjoyed the world over. Nestled between the Kintyre Peninsula and the Firth of Clyde, 60 kilometres and a short ferry southwest of Glasgow, this hidden haven enjoys a warm microclimate. Sea breezes, clear mountain air, and mild seas warmed by the Gulf Stream make it ideal for distilling and living alike. One beautiful island, now home to our 2 distilleries, Lochranza and Lag. They are separated by the Highland Boundary Fault, which runs across the isle's middle, splitting the rugged mountains of Arran's Highland North from its lush lowland south. While today we are the keepers of the only 2 distilleries on the Isle of Arran, we are the custodians of an age-old tradition. For centuries, the island has held a reputation for producing the highest quality whisky. In the past, to increase their income, small Arran communities made their own spirit in illicit homemade stills. The resulting whisky, known as Arran Water, was smuggled from Lag and the southern shores of the island to be sold on mainland Scotland. Regardless of legality, aided by the isle's clear waters, all made superlative spirit. Our home has always been a fine place to make good whisky, but when quantity was prized over quality, our wee island couldn't compete economically, and one by one the distilleries fell into disuse. After the Lag distillery closed in 1840, it would be a long time before the world once again got to enjoy the unique taste of an Arran single malt. In the early 90s, the search began for the perfect site for a new distillery. Following the first-class pure waters of Lochranza Distillery, we too settled upon the village of Lochranza. The revival of the island's ancient whisky tradition became tangible first in the breaking of ground in December 1994, and then as the first spirit ran through the spirit safe in June 1995. Construction of the distillery was paused to allow 2 golden eagles a secure nest in the crag overlooking our Lochranza home. These spectacular creatures returned on the day our visitor centre was officially opened by Her Majesty the Queen. Their fly past an auspicious omen for Arran's first distillery in more than 150 years. Our goal remains the same now as back then: produce the finest whisky from the purest methods. The first official commercially available 10-year Arran malt followed in 2006. Its natural colour, its notes of vanilla, classic citrus, orchard fruits, and its smooth finish remain the cornerstone of our collection. In the time since, oh how our Arran single malt family has grown. Besides the 10-year-old, we have our ever-popular Barrel Reserve single malt, cask strength Partners quarter cask, the Bothy, and sherry cask, the Bodega. We are proud to have our oldest and rarest casks in our full-bodied 18-year-old. It sits alongside the jewel in our crown, the 25-year-old single malt. But we've not stopped there. In our pursuit of the perfect dram for every palate, we've also added our wine cask finish expressions, featuring port, Amarone and Sauterne. Our peated Lochranza malt, the Machrie Moor, and the delicious Arran Gold cream liqueur.
Nearly all our single malts are non-chill filtered, and all colouring is naturally derived from the casks that we use. It really stands testament to the reverence in which we treat the distillation process.
Our Lochranza distillery is placed in the village behind the loch from which it takes its name. As one of the few independent distilleries in Scotland, and one that proudly follows traditional practice, we promise a particularly fascinating experience. Cottages and guest houses dot the road from the waterfront to our distillery, where a dram and a warm welcome await you. Since the opening and establishing of the multi-award-winning Lochranza Distillery, our journey continued from the northern to the southern tip of the island. In 2017, we began the building of the Lag Distillery, our architects creating a spectacular building which echoes the contours of Arran as it appears from Ailsa Craig. 2 years later, the doors of our newest distillery and its magnificent visitor centre were opened to the waiting world, with our first Lag single malt released in late summer 2022.
Today, we're in the wonderful position of owning and operating two very different distilleries at opposite ends of our beautiful island home.
Our mission is to celebrate the beauty, independence and true craftsmanship of our single malt with like-minded others. Our White Stag community allows us to share a dram of our fine whisky with friends new and old, near and far. We could not have predicted how much the community would grow and how many incredible friendships would be made from it.
It's a real privilege for me to be able to work with such amazing teams to produce a truly authentic dram that represents the Isle of Arran so well. And I get a real sense of pride seeing it enjoyed the world over.
Wherever you are in the world, few pleasures transcend the wonderful taste of an Arran single malt. And as long as the waters flow from Loch Davie, so too will our spirit.